Welcome, history detectives. I'm Conrad. I'm an outdoor educator with the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation at Letchworth State Park, and today I have a history mystery for you. This is a stone wall that keeps trail number 1, the Gorge Trail, from getting too close to the main park road. I think we can use a couple history clues to figure out more about this particular wall's unique story. First clue, as always, is where we are. We're down towards the south end of Letchworth State Park, down towards the Middle Falls and the Upper Falls. The Glen Iris Inn, the historic yellow building, is almost within sight just down the hill from here. The Glen Iris Inn was the historic home of William Pryor Letchworth, who bought the original 200 acres of land that would eventually be expanded into Letchworth State Park. The second clue that a lot of folks notice about this wall is that it's the only wall in Letchworth State Park where the rocks on the top are stacked vertically like books rather than flat across like plates. Most of the walls in Letchworth State Park, the vast majority, have the top stones flat across like plates. But this one has its top stones vertically. Completely unique, very different than the others. This wall was not on the property when Mr. Letchworth showed up, but it was here when he passed away and the land became Letchworth State Park. So this wall was built in the 1800s. Pretty old. It's about 200 years old. Not quite, but almost. The wall was built to keep visitors to Mr. Letchworth's estate from wandering too close to the gorge, but also from wandering too close to the road. There were lots of visitors coming to the Glen Iris estate, as he called it at the time. They would see the gardens and the waterfalls, the beautiful property that he had created for people to see and enjoy. But he wanted people to enjoy the place safely, which is why to this very day, this unique wall stands in between trail number 1, which I'm standing on right now, and the park road, where you can see cars coming back and forth. To this day, the wall still stands, and it's still constantly being repaired. You might see some parts of it or some individual stones that look a lot newer than the 1850s or 1860s. There have been constant projects to keep the walls up to date. You might notice some other walls in Letchworth State Park with the flat rocks across the top that have been updated since the 1800s when they may have been built. There are some walls with flat tops that were built much, much later, not until the 1930s, the Great Depression in the United States, where lots of young people were put to work building infrastructure and useful things for parks and public places. A lot of national parks got projects, a lot of state parks got projects. Letchworth State Park was one of those state parks, and a lot of the walls that you see around the park that have flat rocks across the top were built by those young people, known as the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC. But this wall, because it has the vertical rocks across the top, you know for sure was not made by the CCC. It was made long before them under the direction of William Pryor Letchworth. But this isn't the only historic wall in Western New York by any means. I bet there are some historic walls and structures in your neighborhood. If you want to have an adventure, look on your local historian's website or give them a call, or go to your local library and try to find some pictures of your neighborhood from the 1850s, 1840s, maybe even earlier. Look for some walls or buildings that you might notice are still standing today. Some of them might be 100 years old, some of them might be about 200 years old, kind of like this wall here. If you really want to put your history detective skills to the test, come try to find this unique wall in Letchworth State Park. It's in between trail number 1, the Gorge Trail, and the park road, somewhere down towards the south end of the park in the falls area, down in the general vicinity of the Glen Iris Inn. Well, thank you so much for joining me for today's history mystery. If you have any questions about the stone walls of Letchworth or other historic sites you might see here, please put a comment in the comment section below the video. Share this video with your friends to put their history detective skills to the test. And as always, like Letchworth State Park's Facebook page to stay tuned for more history mysteries.